J-More Tech Talk Show, where we answer questions about technology, explain the way they should work, and why they don't sometimes. Well, hey everybody, it is John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here, and welcome once again to another great episode of the J-More Tech Talk Show. Marcus, it is great to be with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing
this
fantastic.
evening, I should say.
I'm doing fantastic, John. How's you doing?
I'm doing well. We're coming into the home stretch for the new year. I mean, I can't believe, Marcus, with today being the 17th, we have less than 2 full weeks left in 2021.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Just a blink of an eye now.
There's a lot of changes going on, and I think 2022 is going to be a great year. We're always going to get those skeptics, unfortunately, and people that are going to want to wear their masks even to bed, or like I'd say, even in the car when no one's around. Really take the mask off if no one's in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, you look stupid. Okay, there's nobody there, and I don't think anybody's gonna get. And the funny thing, I was learning last night. I was at a party just last night. And what I was learning a Thursday night was that they had these signs in this building I went to. And it said that you are basically absolving and agreeing to hold us harmless by entering these facilities by any kind of case of COVID or lawsuit, as we are not responsible. They were big signs, like jumbo. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, this isn't going to hold up in court because you can't even prove it.
No, you can't.
So I think these lawyers are just using this as a facade to make some extra money, is my feeling.
Yeah. People have found many ways to scam people during these times, and it's getting kind of ridiculous. And like you said, people trying to score extra brownie points with the mask. So
I was talking to somebody who lives close to me. His first name is Nate, and we may bring him on a show in the future. He's very involved with the bots, the war bots, the different bots they have. And he was telling me he actually went to the conference. I forget what it's called, something bots. You probably might know better than I do. It's the war bots or something. I'm trying to think of the name. You probably know what I'm talking about. Like the bot wars with destruction.
Okay,
I'm trying to think what the name is.
The battle bots.
What is it?
Is it the battle bots? I believe.
Battle bots. That's it. Yes. So he was very knowledgeable. I think he might be a good guest to have a little later, maybe next year, because it was very interesting to learn all the rules. They have a lot of safety there, Marcus, that they can't enter the ring with their weapons deployed. So there was one person, they take safety very seriously, that was coming into the BattleBot rink, and his blade was out and spinning.
Ooh.
Before it gets into the rink or before the doors close, it's a violation. I never knew this. And I also learned something from talking the other night, that you can have all kinds of weapons like hammers. You can have flame throwing, which is legal. I can't believe it. You can also have any type of cutters, which we've seen before, flippers. You can't have any type of electromechanical devices or jammers. You also can't have any kind of liquid. So water, acid. So you have to have a very big armor, and big not just in what it is, but how well it can deflect the enemy. So interesting. It always gets me very up in the heart when I watch those shows, because they seem like real people to me getting hurt.
Yeah, it does. I'm quite sure we're going to have more of that in the future, especially with the increasing advancement of AI.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can, maybe we might be able, Marcus, to reach us. See if we can get him to come on a show, and maybe we can reach out and get somebody from BattleBots to come on our show. I think that'd be pretty cool, especially what's happening with the, like you said, AI and games and stuff like that. I think this is the new future. People are looking at technology because they're getting bored with things that are in a box. They don't want a remote control car. They don't want, some racetrack that you just put a car down.
Right.
They want something that is interactive. And he was telling me the seats were under $100, and they go through, I forget how many hours of taping. He said, but it was very well worth. I think he paid $60 some. He said it was very, very well worth the conference. So
Cool.
Interesting thing. We'll have to just keep that up. But I thought I would share that with you because we're always trying to know what's going on in the news. And Facebook, or what we call quote unquote Meta these days, they're not hiding anything. They're not fooling anybody. Facebook may have to open up their draws according to the new social media bill, which may require it. This is going to be pretty sticky, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is, especially since they have to send information to qualified, quote unquote, qualified researchers.
Exactly. So a new bipartisan group of the U.S. Senators have announced this new bill that requires social media companies to share platform data with independent researchers. The bill is announcing, and it was put through by Democratic Senator Chris Coons, Amy Klaubacher, and Rob Portman, and also the thing about it is they're naming what they call the Platform Accountability and Transparency Act, PATA. Hey, that's pretty neat. It's kind of like what I was saying all along, isn't it, Marcus?
Yeah, that's.
I said we needed something
we
like
needed
this,
that. Someone to step in.
Exactly. We have the consortium. Like, most people don't know this, but Google wasn't as smart as everybody thinks. Like when they came up with that chip many years ago, and the chip basically doesn't even trust their devices, they didn't come up with that idea. The security consortium came up with that.
Right.
So a lot of the things that we see every day, and these companies are smart, they're not the ones that are coming up with those things. So they're going to establish new rules, compelling social media platforms to share data with qualified researchers. Now, that's defined as a university-affiliated research pursuing projects that have been approved by the National Science Foundation. That sounds interesting, but it sounds a little plausible. I don't know.
It do. We just hope it's someone who is a little bit trendy. So we don't want someone who's just kind of out of the loop of what's going on.
So under the bill, the platforms would be required to comply with the request for data once research was approved by the NSF. And if they fail to provide data to a qualifying project, it could result in the platform losing the immunities provided by Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act. That's pretty tight. So they're not going to shut them down, but then it's like their armor is going to be stripped from them, and they're no longer going to have that, what I call that umbrella of protection. Just like if you start a company and you have a corporation, there's something called the corporate veil, and you're protected as long as you don't break the corporate veil. Mm-hmm. Like, don't go buy sneakers for yourself and put that on your credit card, because that would be breaking the corporate veil. Unless those sneakers, by the way, were for a promotion or a product that you were doing an unboxing for. There's a difference there.
Right.
But, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, this new bill. But I knew this was coming, the Platform Accountability and Transparency Act. I didn't know what it was called, but I just could smell this was on the horizon.
Yeah. I mean, they had too many visits to Washington, and something had to be done, and the stuff with the kids, the harming of the kids, and something had to be done to tighten up on these guys.
Well, they're saying, and I want to quote, some of the big companies have said this before: trust us. And I quote Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democratic person from Connecticut, Senate from Connecticut, and they also said that seems to be what Instagram is saying in your testimony. This was according to Masiri. But self-policing policing depends on trust. The trust is gone, Marcus.
Yeah, it's way gone. And the harm has been done. There's a lot of collateral damage, and they have made their money, and I don't know how much more do they want to make.
Well, I don't know if it's about money 100%, Marcus. I
Yeah,
think it's money's part of it, but I think it's more about power
yeah,
and I'm going to say how influential they are on getting people to do or not do something. So
mm,
money's part of it, but I think it's more of a power war.
yeah. I can see that also. And man, that's even more disgusting.
It is, and like I said, what they're doing with the kids is absolutely crazy. How they're exploiting, and they don't even know they're being exploited.
No, they don't.
So it's definitely something that I'm glad we're starting to adhere. I pray and hope that that bill, the PATA, Platform Accountability and Transparency Act, passes. Because if it doesn't, then we're going to be right back in the same starting point that we were at, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we are, and we're going to be seeing, Facebook doing whatever they want, for a very long time.
But I think, to be honest with you, I think Facebook actually was the one that propelled this. Because by Facebook changing their name, it's like they don't want to be associated with that brand anymore. But now they're doing the same crap with another company name. And it's funny because people are saying, okay, Facebook slash man. They're like referring to them as the same former and older name. It's like telling me that the media is not buying the name change.
No, no one's not. You're not going to be able to escape from it.
They
So
think they are. I mean, you log on,
that's the funny part.
you log on to Facebook. Okay, let's think about this for a moment. You log on to Facebook.com, right? You don't go to Meta.com.
No, you don't. Yeah,
So my question is, if you go to Meta.com, you get about.facebook.com. And if you were really doing this, I would say the whole Facebook domain should be done.
yeah, that's what I would have did. I would got rid of the whole domain. I probably would have took it as far as like getting rid of the logo.
Exactly. You're still seeing that logo. The Instagram logo is okay, but I mean, I think the Instagram logo has too much negative connotation on it.
Yeah, it has a lot of negative
It
connotation.
has whatever we want to
Yeah,
do, we'll do it. And if we can, just, too bad.
yeah,
So we'll have to stay apt to what's going on with them, but it'll be very interesting to see. And I think there's a lot of new frontiers they're going to open in 2022. Some good for some companies, some bad. And I say bad for the companies that are trying to exploit people. So I hope that they're able to do what that task force is set out to do. But speaking about Instagram, according to Adam Mosseri, he explains Instagram is bringing back chronological feed. So this is a feed where you're going to be able to pick your favorites and have them show up at the top in chronological order. Now they haven't given too much information about how to do this, but they're saying that this is a feature they're going to be re-rolling out. So, okay, that's nice, but I think, Marcus, they got bigger problems than to figure out what order a post or feed is coming in. Like, where are their priorities?
yeah. Because you, you go to your search and you get all this other crap that you don't even want to see. You know, I mean, and
It's
you're priming kids to really harmful material.
I agree. So I believe that they're not really doing what the consumers want. They're doing what investors want, okay? And they're doing what's going to put money in their pocket right now. But I think they've been doing that long enough. And they've been exploiting America long enough, and it has to stop now.
It
And the
does.
only way it's going to stop, ladies and gentlemen, is by you telling your legislators, by you speaking out about things that you don't like. I don't mean on the Facebook site or the Instagram site. I mean writing letters, emailing your legislators, telling them this has to stop, telling them your kid was exploited by this if they were. I think that's what's going to do it, Marcus. It's not going to be all the little complaints or the feedback forms that people fill out.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're loaded with it by now. You know, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, when you can't find, when you gotta, like, dig all the way down to the bottom to find educational material.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty.
speaking about things that are sad, there's been fires, if you've not been following, in London for quite a while. And it's causing pretty much a havoc, especially on this holiday season. They're getting fires all over London's network of transportation, and the London Transport Agency is now going to ban what they believe the cause of it is e-scooters on public transit networks. So apparently they've been getting lots of fires, and they believe that these devices are unsafe. They're not going to prevent them for sale and to be used on private property, but on public transportation, they're going to ban them. And a quote recently that I want to take from them, and it said, "We have been extremely worried by the recent incidents on our public transport services, which involved intense fires and considerable smoke and damage," close quote, said the TfL's Chief Safety, Health, and Environment Officer, Lily Madison. It's interesting, but I don't know if just banning them from the transport network is enough. Why aren't they banning the sale of them permanently, Marcus? Why are they just doing it on the network of the transportation?
Well, it seems that if they attempted a ban sale, of course it's going to, they, they won't be able to tax it anymore. That's obvious, and then you might get some other drawbacks elsewhere.
But I think the challenge is that if there's an unsafe product on the road or even on your own private property and it could cause fires, then why is it being allowed? It's a safety hazard. Why isn't it being recalled and fixed like a car would be, or an appliance, or something else of that nature?
Yeah, that's quite interesting because, like, you got to wonder, maybe it's not as many fires as what they're telling everyone.
Well, this is the thing. Whenever you get news from the media, we all know that it's blown out of proportion lots of
Yeah.
times, and so it would be great to get a true number. But when you're talking about lots of posts on Twitter and Instagram, footage showing danger of basically it's the e-scooter battery firing. It's a problem, and like I said, they're calling for the ban on carrying e-scooters on public transport. So just to be very clear here, they're not allowing them. When I say on the network, I know that might get confusing. They're forbidding them to be carried on the transportation network commuter lines. So that means you can't take it on the rail with you. You can't take it on the subway with you. Because they're fearful, because the fires they've seen, if that happens on a transportation network, that could be deadly.
Yeah.
So I think that really it should be recalled.
Yeah, it should. I mean, if it's that big of a problem, recall it altogether.
So what they're doing now to enforce this is they're going to set a fine of £1,000 or $1,300 US. I think that's a problem, but I think it's good they're doing that.
that is good, but I don't think these belong on any of the commuter lines, anyways. You know,
I agree with you, and I think what needs to happen is they need to go back to the manufacturer and say, look, these need to be tested. Or maybe when they're going on the rails, they have a switch. They still should be tested, but maybe whenever they go on the rail systems, they can disengage the battery.
yeah,
Because I think it's something happening with the charging system. So if they take power off the battery, right, then it shouldn't explode.
no, it shouldn't.
So there should be like a safe switch or like a safe travel switch. Just switch it to green when getting on major transit or something. I mean, I still think they should fix the problem, but at least right now, that would allow them to travel with them. But there's still the danger that they could still catch on fire when you get off the transportation system. So I I don't know. We saw this many years ago, Marcus, with APC. When they were shipping batteries, which basically, when the power goes off, they regulate the power, and some of them, besides just providing battery, they regulate the power. So if the power goes below 105, the battery steps in. Okay. If it goes, let's say, below 112, the regulator steps in to bring it up. If the battery goes above 122, 121, a regulator comes in to pull the power down. But again, at 105, the battery comes on board. And the way they were done many years ago is you had this box, and there was like a label. You had to open the box, and the wire was not connected. You had to physically take one of the wires. It wasn't the most easy thing always to do because the wire was very rigid, and you had to bend it back and connect it. And sometimes when people were connecting them, there weren't these protected pieces, so sometimes they would arc on you, like for a second. Nothing bad, but there was still a little bit of charge left over. So what I always did is took them and just touched them real quick so I could get the arc out. Then I could put the time to actually put them together, because if you're trying to put that together, the thing arcs, that might scare you, or it could be a safety hazard. So what happened after many years of complaining, and with the safety of shipping and transportation alliances, they got smart, and they no longer have plugs on the majority of them. There's still some that do, but the ones that have plugs now have a flange. So if you can't really put them in, it's like the metal's like in a few inches, so it's a lot safer. But what they did is they got rid of the need to plug it in on most of them. And so what you do is you take the unit out, had a red and a green side. You take it out, pop it up, twist it around, pop it back down, and now it's connected. Because they believed that when they were in transit, there was a possibility that they could catch on fire. And again, why? Because they're connected to something. So they were just trying to alleviate that by not activating the battery unless the contacts are there. So if that proved to be successful, why don't they do something with the e-scooter? I'm not saying it should have something where they take the battery out, but something like a switch. I think that could solve the problem.
That's a simple install. That doesn't seem like they're asking too much.
No, it doesn't, and it's going to probably cost them an extra $2 or $3 a bike. So I mean,
yeah,
but I always say, Marcus, when it has something to do with safety, it should be addressed immediately. It shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah, that should have been tested up front.
So we'll have to keep it. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But another interesting thing that we want to keep an eye on is more and more cars. It could be the luxury cars from your Mercedes, your Audis, your Acuras, your Porsches, Teslas. Not so much the Teslas, but they could be. They are starting to get exploited due to a technology that Apple has called Apple AirTags. So here's how it works. These devices were designed to help you track different devices usually expensive devices, so you know where they are, maybe equipment, things like that. But what's recently come to the light, based on investigators from the York Regional Police in Auto, they have charged many different people with theft,
Mm.
and they use this unit. Um, and basically, what's happening is that they pop this unit in, and so it's a very small unit. It's probably about the size of less than the size of a quarter. All right. And if you're at the mall, they pop this little transmitter onto your car while you're at the mall. Then they wait for you to drive that car home. And then within a day or two, they take it.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very crazy. Especially given that, like, here in my hometown, like, car theft has, drastically increased. It's becoming a huge issue, and these crooks are getting smarter and smarter.
But they're exploiting and using technology that's been used for other reasons. And something like this could be put under your bumper. It could be put on the inside of a tire. It could be put anywhere, and you
Yeah,
would never notice it.
yeah, you wouldn't know it. Yeah,
Over the past year, they said more than 2,000 vehicles have been stolen across the region. And out of that, approximately 350 vehicles have been recovered in the last year. Okay. And they were only able to arrest 100 people.
wow.
So here's what they're urging you to do. If possible, park your vehicle in a locked garage. Most vehicles are stolen from a driveway. Use a steering wheel lock. It will also act as a visible deterrent for people. Install a lock on the data port. This is a simple device, can be purchased online, and block access to the computer port where thieves gain access to reprogram the vehicle's keys. Interesting.
Yeah,
Consider purchasing a quality video surveillance system. This is why I like the Tesla, because it comes with its own camera system on board. I mean, that's a little bit much to put cameras in your car. Inspect
yeah, it
your
is.
vehicle regularly and call police if you notice any suspicious potential tracking devices. Now, how the heck is someone going to notice? They're not going to have a device to actually check this. And this is coming from the York Regional Police in Ontario.
Right. Yeah, well, if it's happening there, it's going to trickle its way over elsewhere too. So just got
I
to be,
find,
man.
yeah, I think it's a problem. Also people are putting them by the gas tanks as well.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Again, this is a very, very small device, and people can purchase it and use it without any kind of verification of ownership.
Yeah.
So you could own the product, and it verifies you to the phone, but you could stick it on whatever you want. It's not like, right now, if you try to control a domain through Google or something, they want to verify you're an owner. There's no way you could verify you're an owner. They just take it and they pop a tracking device anywhere.
Yeah, maybe that there may have to be something changed to that.
I'm thinking maybe there has to be some way, and the tag is only $29.
Yeah.
It's a very small little silver-like type coin with the Apple logo on it. And like I said, most people are not going to catch this. If you're going somewhere like, let's say, a parking lot, and they have cameras, that's great. But what are people going to do now? Become camera watching for just people that are parking their car?
Right.
I like the idea of parking in a locked garage all the time,
Hmm.
because if you're in a garage, and they see somebody walking up to a car, most times they're going to stop them.
Yeah.
But I feel that this is greater than just this. I think that it's an effort to figure out how to steal cars nationwide, because even in my own town, they're putting big signs up telling people, to lock their cars. But you know what the people do? They leave the keys, Marcus, right in the car.
Oh no.
So you just walk up to the Ferrari, you open the door, you get in, you press the button, bam, you put it on a truck, and you're done.
Oh man, and that's too easy.
So they put signs out saying, please don't put your car somewhere and leave it unlocked. And people were getting angry because they put these, they call them hideous signs. I didn't think they were that bad. They put these signs out there to tell people to be safe, and they said they were cluttering up the neighborhood.
For things that they're not doing. Oh man, gotta love it.
It's crazy.
That's
And
crazy.
I've said this, Marcus, whatever we give access to things and we're not physically there, there is that potential that somebody could hack into it.
Yeah.
But now they've made carjacking so easy that they go after the cars that have the prime value that they want. They don't go after the cheap cars. They just look for the cars they want. They put a few sensors out there and bam.
Well, yeah, that's the real carjackers. Well, we got a problem with teenagers that's joyriding here in our city, and they're going after Kias and Hyundais. So
they're just doing that to be.
They're being a nuisance.
That's really all they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean now that the car has to have an anti-tracking device to be able to check devices that are installed? I mean, where is this line going?
Yeah, I don't know, because there's only so much you can do to continue to deter.
You can do exactly. I don't know. Speaking about more people, Activision recently had an interesting challenge where the workers rallied in a protest for layoffs. The strike was funded to support work stoppage, raising over $100,000 in 12 hours. And the group of Activision Blizzard workers called itself a Better ABK Workers Alliance, announcing that its members are taking part in an open-ended strike until demands are met and worker representation is finally given a place within the company. This is a company that has a few dollars, Activision. And I am really disappointed with the deplorable behavior of their management team, that they're not able to give them their fair salary.
Yeah, this is, you gotta wonder, they're not with the times. They gotta wake up and smell the coffee here. Things are changing now, and you gotta pay your workers now.
And it's also not just that, Marcus. It's employees, but it's also Raven Software has QA contractors who were let go last month, and that's another problem. So they have a lot of contractors, and they feel that contractors are disposable. I think too many people feel contractors are disposable. And without mentioning names to a lot of companies, they play a game, Marcus, to see who they can bring in at the lowest price. They don't want the best person. They want people that are going to come to work for the cheapest amount of money. In some senses, Marcus, they want people that are not too bright.
Yeah. But this is not smart, though.
No, it's not. And then you know what they want to do, Marcus? They want to micromanage. I was talking to a company the other day, and they were doing some tech support. And the person got on site. And you know what they did when they got on site? They had to check in by phone, which was fine. But then they stayed on the phone with them for the entire time they were at the site. I said, why? Well, they like to stay on phone with us when we have troubleshooting calls. I'm like, are they helpful? Not really, but they just kind of want to police us and stay on the phone. I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, it's no wonder why there's so many production slowdowns, and why employees are just like not being retained anymore.
Exactly. And it's interesting because this strike that I was telling you about was all for not the developers, okay, but for the quality assurance team.
That's even worse.
So they're actually discriminating, Marcus, against their quality assurance contractors, saying that they don't need them anymore.
Well, let's find out when you get a couple complaints.
So, alongside the strike, a better ABK is also actively working to create a formal labor union by distributing union authorization cards to employees. If a majority of employees sign such cards, it could lead Activision Blizzard to voluntarily recognizing the newly formed union or force a formal NLRB vote on union representation among all employees. So the real issue is that Raven's being treated like second-class citizens.
Yeah.
They're not even playing fair with the whole company. They're picking and choosing and discriminating. Now, we hear discrimination for race, religion, orientation, but this is different. They're discriminating based on the type of job they're doing. That's a new one, Marcus, on my point.
Yeah, I have not heard anything like that.
So we got to change the rule now. We don't discriminate for race, religion, sexual orientation, or job classification.
Yeah, if you got that type of job, you're a low life. Oh man, that's a new one of mine. Oh my, this is crazy.
Until it becomes a lawsuit, then it'll become part of the statute in the normal discrimination, equal opportunity employer nomenclature.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we had a little issue that happened not too long ago. Twitter made a little of a blunder. They suspended quite a few accounts in error, all because they received several malicious reports that there was a problem. So they didn't even bother to investigate it. They just suspended the accounts. They later realized that this was an error and they reinstated the accounts. So the policy's vague wording had drawn criticism for researchers who said it could stifle the use of Twitter for amateur reporting and open source investigation. Amateur sleuths, and I quote, have used the site to pursue members of hate groups and suspected rioters at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So this is a whole thing about misuse of power and misuse of media, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you this, and many of our viewers don't know this, but I'm actually a certified member of the International Press, both as a videographer and a journalist. And I got to tell you, I take that title very seriously because a lot of people, feel that just because you're media, that you're somebody special. And I think there's some wording to that, but I don't think that you're God. I think that it's your job to bring the news to people in a way that's unbiased. And so I say this to you because whatever I report on, I try to give an unbiased view. There's a lot of people that can be bought, and they'll slant the story because they're making more money, because if they make it seem like that. And this happens today, Marcus, unfortunately, with many of the major 3 and 4 letter companies. They just say, well, it seemed more like that. No, they just happened to get more advertising on that end. So that's why that became. But it's sad that this happens, Marcus.
Yeah, it is. We have seen an uptick in it. Um, This is why some of the major news and media companies, are rolling out these fake and crazy news stories because like they're just losing. They're losing, and they're losing, and the only way for them to continue to roll in the money machine is to roll up with crazy stories and, and and put out fake articles and stuff.
It just blows me away. But one point I want to end on is something called Winky Lights, which kind of Twinkly Lights, I should say. I call them Winky Lights, but Twinkly Lights. So they're a new type of light you could put on your tree. Um, Smart bulbs create this unique ambiance for the tree, and unfortunately, you still have to string the lights around the tree. That's not going to get done for you by osmosis. And they're different than the old school blinking lights. With Twinkly Lights, you use your iOS or Android app to customize your light setup via Wi Fi. And there's a 56 light starter kit, but you can go up to 225 and create all kinds of patterns to how your lights will appear on the tree. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But my question is, how long do those bulbs last? Because when you put lights on a tree, they never seem to work. But I got to tell you, they're getting better with that. Some of the newer companies now are actually putting lights on the tree already, and you don't have to wire them. When you snap the tree together, they actually click without having to wire them. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
So Twinkly Lights, in case you were wondering, just for the heck of it, they're right around $120.
Okay.
And so that's your starter pack, and you could get them at any of your major stores. But I think it's pretty cool the way you can just use your app. It's definitely a nice conversation starter for the holidays. Oh, love your tree. Oh yes, we got Twinkly Lights this year, and I actually got a 400 count set, and I spent $300. Wow. Yeah, they're multicolored. You can set not only the pattern of how they go, but the light color. And they can be used indoor or outdoors. Pretty interesting. Something I definitely think that would be nice to talk about around the Yule log this holiday season.
That's cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where our time goes, but we are at the top of our hour already. And I just want to encourage you guys, as we have just one more week, if you are celebrating Christmas. If you celebrated other holidays, I hope those holidays were happy, merry, and great for you and your family. But this is a time where we get to talk about things with our family. We get to sit around the table. And somebody said to me a long time ago, John, it's not what you're having for dinner that matters. It's the people that sit around the table to enjoy it with you. Those are the things that we're going to treasure for years, not the fact that somebody cooked a bad pot roast or a great meal. It's going to be the experience that we're going to talk about. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you have an idea for a J Moore Tech Talk show, would you like to be a guest possibly in 2022? Go to jmor.com. The right-hand corner, click on Reach Out today and apply to become a guest. We love to have people that are insightful and that would like to provide value to our show. Also, if you have an idea for a product or an unboxing, reach out to us as well. You'll have to donate and send us the product. We'll review it, give an honest review of the product. Again, if you're looking to send us a lemon and expecting me to turn it to lemonade, I would just ask you to keep your product because I don't want to disappoint you. You cannot pay us to tell us what you want us to say about the product. Again, I hope the rest of your shopping days, which you have a few of them left, before the holidays go well. And I invite you to pop on over to my channel, which is on YouTube, John space C space MORLEY space Serial Entrepreneur, and watch my 25 days of inspirational gifts around the holidays. Gifts that you'll actually be able to understand that I get every day for myself and that teach a lesson of something you can add to your mental tool belt that will help you become a better version of yourself and help others become a better version of themselves. Well, with that, Marcus, I have to say goodbye.
Indeed.
Have yourself a great weekend, everyone, and we'll be back next week. Wow, that's going to be Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be amazing, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a great show for that one, so don't miss it. Take care, everyone. Be well.
Bye, Owen.
Thank you for tuning in to the J Moore Weekly Technology Show, where we answer your questions about how technology is supposed to work and sometimes why you have challenges getting it to work that way. For more IT support and tips, just text IT support to 888-111. That's IT support to 888-111, and you'll get tips on technology. I'll see you next week right here on the J Moore Tech Talk Show. Remember, jmor.com.